Welcome back to another episode of Who Should You Choose, the video series where I go through the prior videos, questions, and comments and help you with your hut lineup decisions. If this is the first time watching these videos, make sure you subscribe, notifications on, so that when these videos come out, you can get your comment in quickly and get a shot to have it read and answered on the next episode. So let's start at the top. Went through all the comments, picked out some of the ones I like or some of the duplicates. Let's start first with Savagely Happy. Hello, Sleeves. So first, I want to say thank you. I've learned a lot from you this year, more than expected. Has made my year fun this time around. My question is simple. As a free-to-play player, does it make sense to work sets to get to go for the supernatural cards to run the objectives faster, or just take what you can and just cash out on cards? So I think what you're saying is, do you make like McKinnon's 80 overall card to try and get the objectives done faster? You should have gotten that free Colorado Avalanche player item, or if you have Cale Makar, for example, and focus on it. The objectives are about to end for the Avalanche. Worst comes to worst, I would just buy the cheapest Avalanche forward or defenseman and just try to do it on rookie squad battles or semi-pro. That way you can work towards the weekly competitive ones. But I wouldn't go and like make McKinnon if you didn't plan on making him just to get that grind done. Hey, Slaves, I have Quinn Hughes, Cale Makar on my first line defense. Should I go for Miro or should I go for Willie Styles? Oh, man. Miro is doing so well for me. I truthfully believe that having a stacked six-man decor with the best cards in the game, like D2Ds are just, it's not even that D2Ds go in so often, it's the threat of them. So, like, what I've noticed a lot is people will play tight point on me if I'm going for D2D one-timers a bunch, and they will bring that forward. Instead of attacking my defenseman, they go and play the pass, and the whole lane to the net is wide open. That'll be covered in my strategies video that will be coming out in a few days. But I feel like in your case, you should probably go with Nylander. Because it's not like I'm saying abandon forwards. You should probably go for Nylander. So, hey, Sleeves. I'm on No Money Spent team, and I was keeping all of my cards on my way towards Sundin and McDavid. Now, with my cards and collectibles given during the 2 fantasy weeks, I could create 2 fantasy cards and get a random one with the 600k pack. I play on the long run, so no rush. I play for the long run, so no rush to have them in my lineup. Do you think I should get those 3 and burn my collection, mostly 79 overall, or should I continue chasing Sundin and McDavid? Thanks, keep up the good work. I'll be honest with you. I would do what you can to make as many fantasy cards as you can, if you are in a position where you can make multiple. Because they're probably next wild card season, you probably get another free X Factor, for example. They seem to be pretty generous with the X Factor choice packs now. And those cards aren't going anywhere. The fantasy cards you have 1 week or 2, depending on next week's release. I would try and make 3. If you're going to do the 600k pack, I wouldn't recommend that. Although it is... I'm trying to think of the scenario in which I would do it. 600k is far cheaper. Like, you won't find a fantasy card, even Sebastian Repo, for 600k on the market. Right? And he is B&D, but the fantasy event doesn't matter B&D. Like, it won't matter about being able to trade in a fantasy card until, what, August? So, I would do the 600k is worth doing. It's just that the risk is so hard because there's a lot that you probably don't want. And there's a lot that you really want. If you're going to do the 600k, okay? If you have 1 million coins, let's say, I would do 600k. I would do that pack first. Do not do that multiple times. Okay, because if you get 2 B&D cards of the same, there is not going to be a trade-in more than likely. So you can't run the risk. In no way, shape, or form would I do 2 B&D sets because you could be in a lot of trouble. So the problem with that is that the 600k pack, you could just get the 16 collectibles to make the B&D one for free. But I guess in your instance, you could use 600k and then use those collectibles to make Garland or Middlestad or Sanheim, for example. So keep up the great work, Slaves. Question, would you upgrade the Supernatural cards from 84 to 85, even though there isn't a speed upgrade? Thanks, Go Leafs Go. It depends on the card's ability. Like, if you're not gonna activate the zone ability on that card, and there is no speed increase, then I probably wouldn't. But if you can get it for free via objectives next week, like you get enough, then go ahead. I'm in the minority from Barstar. I'm in the minority, but I'm glad the Hut auction house is thriving and cards have value outside of just fodder. I thought EA would have to remove the MSP model to achieve something like this, but what they're doing now is a better avenue. As Sleeves mentioned, it sucks that we aren't prepared for it, but going forward, I think it'll be best for the franchise. I talked about this in the last episode because someone had on Reddit made a very lengthy post about why some of the good changes from the Hut from Hut this year in terms of the market and things like that. It's there's another comment that we're going to touch on that's very negative, so it's fun to see both sides. Like I said, there are things that they have done well with this auction house model, and that I truthfully believe if you went back to launch and we know everything now about how it's going to go, our experience would be far better. But they do need to come up with a way to allow us to have regular shots at very good cards. They do, because what's happening right now is we're getting a lot of free. The packs that we do get are very low overalls, which we need for sets and the chase cards, right? But that just makes packs mean less, and packs are a big part of the game. It's why a lot of people play the game. Hey, Slaves, I'm thinking of buying a Supernatural D-Man to help with the fantasy objectives, but I cannot decide on who to pick, Truba or Darlene. I have 251,000 coins, so I would have enough to get either one. Darlene is a great shot, but that body checking from Truba is irresistible. For context, I have the cover athlete Makar. Also, should I be trading in all of my set fodder for fantasy collectibles right away, or wait until the time is right? So, and this is a benefit of the auction house, guys, is that the auction house will not crash. So, if Truba and Darlene have multiple cards up that are going for 250,000 coins or in that range, you can buy that card, try it out, and use it, and not have to fear the 70,000 coin drop that would happen overnight sometimes. And that was a big downfall of the prior games. It's why everyone's got coin fear. And if for anyone that plays Tarkov, it's we call it gear fear, where you've got all this stuff, but you're scared to use it because you don't want to lose it, right? Whereas this year, you're just not going to lose it as quickly. You can take time and try out new cards. And once you kind of get into that mindset, you're going to experience Hut in a lot better light in the current way that it's played. So I would try Trube out if you want to try it, to go with Makar, and then sell them back if you don't, and use Darlene if you'd like. You hit the nail on the head with the lack of communication being the main issue and cause of frustration. All these changes should have been covered in the Hut deep dive. That's the point of it. If we had a heads up, I think these changes would have gone over better. 100%. The goalie attribute drop you're referring to is goalie fatigue. If you lose a game, if you lost a game, your starter would go down 1 overall, but you would have to play the backup for a game to get the other goalies overall to go back up. So I mentioned this yesterday. It's kind of like tinfoil hat theory of mine, that in NHL 15 or the earlier years of NHL, there was like something in the game where your goalie, if you played him over and over again, he would lose attributes. His attributes would drop, and then you'd have to play your backup for it to reset. And I'm just like, it would be the most EA thing if there was spaghetti code just from 10 years ago still stuck in there that they don't realize, and that's what's happening. It's why your goalie drops off a cliff after a bunch of games. So what I do now is I play a bunch of games with Casa, and then when I notice that he's just letting in muffins and stuff that wasn't going in, I'll just switch to Jacob Malik, and then I just do that back and forth. And I really don't believe that actually exists in game, but it's just mentally, and goalies don't matter. So if it helps you play a little more confidently, then do that. Hey, Slaves, do you know if it makes any difference what type of players to put on each line? Like, is all 3 players on one line are snipers or power forwards? Playmaker, sniper forward make better chemistry. I don't think that's in the game, and it would be so hard to quantify that. A goalie being bad out of nowhere is a little bit easier to see. I don't think that the chemistry thing is still in the game, no. Hey, Slaves, should I wait and make a player from my favorite team, or do the 16 collectible set once or twice if it refreshes? Always make it from your favorite team. And if you're a Blackhawks fan, like your logo said, I got a feeling you're probably going to get a good one. I would expect Bertuzzi, maybe Taylor Hall if we're lucky. That'd be kind of cool. It would suck if it was Jason Dickinson, though. But I don't think it'll be Bedard. I would be okay. So this was the negative one about my talk in the last episode, in episode 14, about why I think some of the changes to Hut is good, and we will experience them better in the future years of the game now that we know how the market's going to work and things like that. This, my man Hockey Steve here kind of broke down his frustrations and why he thinks I'm wrong. So I want to address this. If you didn't watch the video from episode 14, go back. It's at 9 minutes, I think he stated here. So I would be exactly as mad and frustrated as I am right now. I don't want to buy and sell cards on the market. I don't want to have to worry about if I'm making the right amount of profit on the NHL video game stock market. I don't want to clock into an NHL video game job and not only play the game for zero rewards and also need to play less so that I can spend more time on the NHL video game stock market, learning the prices of cards and buying and selling cards I may want to play with. What I want is to play the game and earn ultimate jumbo packs and open cards and actually pull good things. Right now, I have to spend forever opening 32 packs of 77 overall NHL team cards, and that takes up all the gaming time I had. On top of that, the packs they gift us don't even say the right things. I receive an NHL players pack, and it'll be alumni players. These aren't the same. If they were, then I could use them in the team builder sets. Anyways, I'm frustrated. I'm pissed off. This game is not good, and this game is not acceptable for the NHL community. And personally, I understand your personal and financial reasons for your attempts to defend the game at times, but in my opinion, EA Sports should not be defended. This game is not good enough, and if this continues, smaller content creators will lose the luxury of content creation being their primary source of income, and that is incredibly sad to me. So let's walk through this. Again, when someone gives this level of detail, I'd like to kind of address it. So I don't want to buy and sell cards in the market because I don't want to spend time on the video game stock market. I completely agree. Like the menus have demolished the market because you can't snipe cards at decent prices because everyone's doing it. It takes forever to go into the market and the menus. It's just very slow and a shit experience. I hope that next year they will address the menus and the way that they're worked. Like again, what I talk about in the spaghetti code thing is that there's been so many years of just code on top of code that if they want to fix the market or fix the menu system and the speed that it takes, they would have to go and fix one thing. It would break two that they weren't anticipating, and now they're fixing those two things, and that might break another thing. And now you've just lost 3 weeks of their 12 weeks they have in a year to make developments, improvements to the game. So it's very difficult to do that. It's EA Sports, a billion-dollar company. Figure out a way to get that done. I'm just talking from my experience talking with the developers, that not the guys with the ideas, the tech developers, the guys in the code, right? And unfortunately, I think that the jump to NHL 15 ruined the NHL franchise and set it back a decade, but that's for another whole other video. So I can agree with you not wanting to spend time buying and selling cards. Totally agree with that. That is why I think selling cards you get that are tradable is an easier way to go about it. You get a card that's tradable, you look for what it's going for, or even you don't even have to look for what it's going for. You just look it up once. It really doesn't change that much now. Like, for example, you pull a 75 tradable, sell it for 6,000 coins. And just, that's it. You don't go and look at, like, should I keep this card or sell it, whatever. Just sell it, right? Like, make it easier on yourself. But I don't want to clock into an NHL video game. It's a job, and not only play the game for zero rewards, and also play less so that I can spend more time working the market and things like that. Again, I think you're getting too hung up on individual value of cards. Like, if you get a team builder card, let's say you get a 77 overall card, and it's for the Nashville Predators, you need to look at if the Nashville Predators are selling for more than what the lowest price of 77s are. That I can understand being annoying. Again, if you're a casual player or a player that doesn't have a lot of time, sell it for what the cheapest 77 is going for. You know, lose out on a couple thousand coins, but again, save your time, right? What I want to play is the game and earn ultimate and jumbo packs and open cards and actually pull good things. First of all, I would challenge pull good things. In this year's game, something that is being ignored is that if you pull a pack that has 5 items in it and they're above 75 overall, that is more valuable than an ultimate pack in prior years. What you want is to play the game less and get a shot at a purple card, and that I can appreciate. That's what you're explaining. What you're saying is that you would play your few games of Rivals or whatever, and even if you're not guaranteed a card, and more often than not, you're not going to pull anything, you don't want to have to sell those cards in the auction house because, again, like you mentioned, that takes time. You want at least to get a shot at pulling Connor McDavid's base card. And that I can understand. I think you're a section of the player base where the changes have really hurt. And I can appreciate that because what the majority of the player base, or at least the people that watch my videos, I would say that you probably have 5 to 10 hours, right? A week to play. And if you don't have that much time and you don't want to spend money on the game, it's very difficult to keep up with the current state of how the game is. And again, even more so if you have to sell all the cards in the auction house. And so I can understand that. I think you need to simplify what you're doing. If you get a tradable card, even if you get a tradable card, throw it into sets to make a power up icon you want or an X Factor. Don't even sell it, right? Just play with what you want. The other thing I would recommend is if you are selling all of these things, you should have a lot of coins. What I would recommend is because you're not opening up a lot of packs for the good pulls that you're probably not going to get anyways, go and try out your favorite cards. Like this year more than ever, you should have more coins. There is no way that you shouldn't, especially if you're saying that you spend a lot of time selling cards. Don't worry about buying and selling and flipping. That's a fool's errand this year, especially with how slow the market is in terms of like ping and being able to actually snipe cards. I would sell everything tradable, put it out of your mind, just like I'm going to sell that, or use it in sets if you want to simplify it, right? And then if you're a Columbus Blue Jacket fan and that Adam Fantilli comes out, go buy Adam Fantilli. Spend a couple 100,000 coins. Again, what I mentioned earlier about people are so scared to spend coins because you're scared of the insane drop and you're losing 100,000 in 2 days. That's just simply not happening because there isn't a lot of packs being opened in general. I don't know how they fix your demographic, which was play the game a couple days a week and in a very low amount, and at least you had a shot with pulling a couple packs, right? I don't know how they fix that. I can appreciate that you're the one area of the community that's been hit hardest. On top of that, the pack saying the wrong thing, that's bullshit. Like I immediately I remember during early access, I was really frustrated with them because it said NHL players and you pulled alumni. And then I remember asking, do alumni players work for Team Builder sets? They said no. And I said, well, this is a lie then. And then they went and changed the verbiage on the pack. So I agree with that. That is something that's unacceptable. I understand also your last point. The game's not good. You're frustrated with it. It's unacceptable from the NHL community. And you think that I have to defend them for financial reasons. Like, I'm going to make videos, and I've been blessed with the community that, like, we just love hockey. And more now, I talk a lot more about real hockey, which I find much more fun. I don't defend the game and some of the things because I want to support EA and I want everyone to be like, you should love the game. I'm critical, and I just try to, if everyone's being negative, it just sucks because we're still going to play the game. That's where I'm like, hey, guys, this isn't as bad when you dive deep into it, right? It could be better, and it should be better, but it's not as doom and gloom. So I don't want you to think that I defend them because I'm, what everyone says, a bootlicker for EA. I understand that, EA has promoted me and things like that in the past, but I have turned down things recently because of the lack of communication that I've been upset with. So don't think like that. I literally just in my prior video was saying that I think some things that we've gotten this year from the market and things like that will be viewed better than what they are now. The XP path is still ridiculous. If it doesn't improve in Season 2, there's no hope, and I don't know what we can do. I'll lose my goddamn mind. I promise you that, because we have done nothing but blast them for the XP path in the background. And if it's not improved, that's a disaster. I also don't like that you have to play as many moments you have to now. It should be what it was in early access when it was like, play the game you want, even though the rewards are awful. Play the game the way that you want. And now we're starting to have to play way too many moments to get stuff, and I don't like that at all. And appreciate the comment, and I'm sorry for your frustration. I do agree that, like I said, your demographic of the community is something that they need to figure out. More packs is probably... I don't know how they add more packs in without destroying what they've done to the market. I don't know. That's it. That's something I would love to hear your idea of it. I would love to hear your idea of it. Hey, Slaves, I like a lot of things that you say about the negative outlook on Hut. Oh, this is funny. This is right next. I like a lot of the things you say about the negative outlook on Hut this year. This is so funny. This is why it's so hard to get the game right, because there's so much difference in opinions, right? I'm OG playing Hut since 13, and I remember content creators used to make compilations of people absolutely losing their minds over base Crosby and OV pulls. Saw Thrash pull in 84 and actually got excited about it with the patented Let's Go. I love the way Hut has changed, mainly because everyone would complain year after year about no changes, and now they've changed it and everyone complains that it's changed. Anyways, Rant Over. Thanks for all you do. I agree. I do think that the content team has done a lot of change for the sake of change. Um, I think that some of these changes have a positive thing. All of the cards you pull in packs that aren't bronze have value. That's a dub. You should be able to play the game with the XP path any way you want, but the XP path needs to be way more rewarding, and they need to flush out the having to play so many moments, right? Like there's ways to improve upon that, and I hope that we see that over the next few years or next few weeks and months. Sorry. My team is good, really good in fantasy, but I want to upgrade it by having any fantasy card. Should I buy from the auction house or should I make one in sets? If you're buying one in the auction house, guys, you're looking at like 2 million. Do the math. If you need to buy enough of the set fodder to make one, do the math on it before you go and buy. So like if it's only going to cost you 1 million coins to make it untradeable, but you get the one you want as opposed to buying it tradable, I would do that. But if it's going to be roughly the same, I would just buy it from the auctions if you really want that card. Hey, Slaves, should I do the random 16 collectibles or use set fodder to make one of the best week 1 cards? If so, which one? This is tough. This is like the hardest thing for me to recommend, guys. If you can make one guaranteed, meaning like you can get 40, I would do that. But if you are going to be too far or you've got to burn 700,000 coins from your collection, I would just do the 16 and see what you get. Remember, you can only do the 16 one once, I believe. I don't believe you're going to be able to do it for week 2. You might be able to, but it's the verbiage in the press release or the blog or whatever they wrote says you can only do that set once, and I don't know if it just means week 1 or in general. So what I mean by that is if you don't love Garland or Middleset or any of the best ones from week 1, I'd wait for week 2. Hey, Slaves, love the content. With EA moving to the XP path and getting rid of weekly rewards, do you think we can see the return of online seasons or an online head-to-head mode similar to Madden? Or are we just stuck with rivals until they think of something else? It's not so much we're stuck with rivals until they think of something else. We're just not going to see anything because it would take extensive amount of developer resources to make a new mode. I think we've got rivals, and we just have to hope for some improvements there. That goalie fatigue is right. You had to keep changing goalies. You had contracts, injuries, fatigue, because needed to use cards to remove arrest. Exactly. That was from way back. That's what I was talking about. Again, give it a shot, guys. If your goalie is now ass after he's been really good for like 30 games, try moving him to the backup for like 3 or 4 and then moving back to him and see. Again, it's all in your head, but whatever. Let's see. Hey, love these videos. Keep it the great content. We need weekly rivals packs back. There is no feeling like going home from work or school on a Wednesday knowing you got 2 ultimate packs waiting for you. I feel like teams this year will progress 10 times slower than years before. The thing that kept me playing the game was being able to add 1 to 3 new players to my team every week. This year's game is a lot less exciting and feels like more of a job to grind the XP path. Because of this, I found myself not playing much chill at all. Keep the great content. Again, I think you're stuck in the mentality and not realizing the potential that you can. You're getting the packs, yes, they have removed the dopamine hit of the pack dump. I totally agree with that. That was one of the best ways to get excitement from the game, is you've got these weekly packs, you're going to get a bunch, you're all excited, and you get to, pull your hamstring more often than not. You have to understand that every pack is now worth 10x. Best example, if they released an ultimate pack in NHL 25, which I don't think will exist, maybe in Hut Champs at the very high end, but think of it like this. If they released an ultimate pack in NHL 25 that is 20, 80, and above player items, okay? Let's say you pulled only 80 overalls. That is a 200,000 coin pack, okay? In NHL 24, if you pulled an ultimate pack and you pulled only 80 overalls, and again, you can only assume that you're going to pull the lowest overall. You wouldn't always pull that. But let's just say, for argument's sake, that is a 20,000 coin pack because 80 overalls went for 1,000 coins. Even with Hut inflation and everyone having more coins than ever and prices are more expensive, it is not 10x, right? So that is what, when you get weekly competitive packs, the weekly competitive objective path, guys, is the new Rivals Ultimate grind. All right, you get much less than years past. But all of those packs that are tradable, I pulled the 85 Jesper Bratt, and that's extremely lucky. That's a 300,000 coin card. I pulled a bunch of 80 and above 20,000 coins, right? Like with that, everyone's like, okay, great, I have all these coins and now all the cards are more expensive. What do I do? The great thing about the market this year is, again, it's safer to go and try new cards. All right. Go and buy the new 84 overall Jordan Kyrou. Go and try that card out. In years past, you simply wouldn't, because you would know that that card's going to tank in price soon, in a week. You would stay away from that, and you would only chase after MSPs or the cards you know are going to stay good, right? And now you can go try any card with the thought process of, even if you lose 10 to 20,000 coins, who cares, right? Like if you have to sell it back for the same price and the stupid 5% tax, right, for reselling, you're just stuck in the old mentality of HUT. And I think you will enjoy it if you're just like, I've got 500,000 coins. You know what? I'm going to go spend 300,000 on the 85 Evan Bouchard. And you're going to try him out. And maybe you like him, maybe you don't. But if you don't, 3 days later, you could sell him for roughly the same price. And that you did not have in prior games. But I don't know what they do to fix what you're talking about, because it's the same thing as the prior people. The prior people that are upset are, this is a blanket statement, and I don't want it to come off like offensive or anything like that. What you're missing and you're wanting is simply gambling. And like what I mean by that is that when you go to the casino, the reason why people get addicted to gambling is because of the dopamine rush you get when you throw the ball onto the roulette table, and that rush of adrenaline that you get when it's spinning around. Win or lose, the excitement isn't there when you find out if you win or lose. It's while it's going around. And when you open up packs, while you're going through them, you're at the most excitement you'll be, because you love that rush of like, oh my God, here's a chance. And again, I'm not trying to offend you, but I think that that's the people that are so upset about the big time packs. You're just not realizing that you really needed that pack rush, right? And it's try out the new way of NHL. I had to do it too. If you watch my live streams for the first 2 weeks, I bought almost every MSP, played 15 games, and then resold it for the same price. That you could never do in NHL. And I enjoy it now. I bought the Team of the Week Fantilli, tried him out for 15 games. I bought the Game Breakers Rantanen, tried him out for 15 games. And I made coins on most of them. But what I'm saying is that it won't drastically crash in price. And if they bring back packs like these, that's when you get the market crash and you can't confidently try out a card and losing all of it, right? So, again, I didn't mean to like offend you and be like, yo, you're a gambling addict. I just think that the people that really miss those big pack things, that's your mentality. And I think that if you just try out the new way, I think that you'll enjoy it more. So I hope you enjoyed psychology class. And always fun to, get into these debates and things like that. I like hearing from everyone in the community and hearing all of these different sides, because it's the only way that we get constructive criticism for the overall game. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I'm excited for next week's episode. And everyone that is tuned into these videos, this is like my 4th year of doing Who Should You Choose? And now it's more of like a daily yap. But the numbers and the responses are more than I've ever gotten, and I'm having a ton of fun doing it. You can also check me out in the mornings. I record these live on Twitch, twitch.tv/nosleeves12. And then if you want in the afternoon, while you're sitting there filling out your TPS reports, waiting for your work day to get done, have me up on the second monitor. That's pretty much my entire viewer base. So thank you guys again for watching. I'll see you next time. Have a good one.